Keith here. Welcome to a show in a glass of its own.
Yes, Thames Television, the station with knockers. Excuse me, there's one now. Yes, can I help you?
Here we go again, to quote David Coverdale from Whitesnake. I was about to say Night Snake for a minute, and that sounded rather funny and rather rude. But when I say that, it's a quiet Sunday evening here in the Kung Fu Hot Dog Shack of Shame, and I saw this article from The Gamer written by a person who cosplays as a woman. Of course, I'm talking about Stacey Henley. And they've got a problem with Mecha Break. I played that game this week, the beta that is, and I absolutely had a whale of a time. But because Stacey Henley likes to cosplay as a man or a woman, I can never keep up these days. He has got an axe to grind with jiggle physics and bootylicious details. So without further ado, let's get into the video today.
The name's Nukem. Duke Nukem. No, I'm not here to kick ass or chew bubblegum. I'm not here to get even with those alien bastards for shooting up my ride either. I'm here to tell you to watch Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog. So watch out for him and his babes of the 1980s. Oh, and one more thing. Hail to the king, baby.
3, 2, 1. Ooh, Mecha Break's character models aren't a victory because, wait for it, nobody cares. I haven't played Mecha Break yet, so you're already slamming the game title because apparently because the character creation is so wonderfully imbued with boobies and bums and facial design, that automatically means, Mr. Stacey Henley, that you don't like it. And don't worry, he actually says in the article later on that people are misconstruing his reaction of actually hating Mecha Break. So while he's not played it yet, whatever, don't care. Possibly a little overstretched with 3 game modes, and due to still being in beta, we don't know yet exactly how its monetization will work, but good nonetheless. Other people, those who don't know me and have never met me, because apparently that qualifies you and your boring ass opinion, Stacey Henley, have decided I hate it. This is the way of modern gaming discourse. You see, while people are interested in actually playing Mecha Break, as I was and still am, are talking about the range of mech units and pricey upgrades, others are only concerned with the character models. Oh, do you mean like this, Stacey? This game just keeps on giving and giving.
Combat alert! Combat alert! New mission received.
These custom characters are pretty, hyper stylized, and have jiggle physics for days. This man speaks my language, despite being a woman in inverted commas, with all the sliders in all the right places. I'm sure when Stacey gets home, he takes off his wig, puts on a pair of slippers, gets a big fat Cuban cigar out and says, "Right, love, what's on the menu today?" I am sure this guy masquerades as a woman just to get bonus DEI points. It's pretty funny to actually read this article. I mean, if you told me Stacey Henley wrote this article, I would think you were pulling my left leg, and then my right leg, and then my middle leg. But it's bizarre that not only can you make hot women, yeah, that's part of the attraction, but it's seen as a win against people who just don't care. Well, I guess, Stacey, you don't have an appreciation of beautiful women in entertainment.
Time I see that show on MTV, my slinky goes doing, doing, doing.
It's taken as a victory against wokeness, because you had to bring that word in, didn't you, Henley? That a game with sexy ladies is just popular, because I guarantee you, if it was a game with trans characters, Stacey Henley would be, waving that placard, that waving flame torch to say, yeah, it's a victory for us, the trans people, or in his case, a fake trans person. So yes, Stellar Blade reviewed well, but then again, that was down to Digital Foundry and Alex, who had a problem about that game and its over-sexualized design.
So, you know, that's around that mark. It's not too surprising if it does actually end up going for that. The one thing, I know you were talking about the character from a bygone era. I do think the character model was actually like very distracting in not a good way, because like with the camera angles chosen, it just felt like this game seems like a game that came out in like 2002 in terms of its, you know, like character design. It's like a bit old and not flattering, I don't think, for a modern audience. In comparison to something like Forspoken, which has, you know, I mean, yes, it has much more realistic looking character designs. It's not these hyper-proportioned something or another's, but it also seemed, I don't know, a bit more grounded in a way that I found much more appealing.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Look, even his Digital Foundry colleagues were embarrassed by his remarks, almost as if they were saying, listen, Alex Battaglia, just stand in the corner over there in your blue and white cheerleader's outfit and let the boys take over and discuss what we really like about Stellar Blade.
Yes, that's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem.
Oh dear. Okay, well look, Alex, you were talking about Forspoken. Again, it was a game that was shown quite early on in the showcase. I don't really quite know what to make of it.
I'm glad Mecha Break is doing well, because quite clearly, Henley, you're not. But my biggest concern is our continued embrace of live service, highly monetized, forever games that usually fail to last as long as they need to. Well, so far, Marvel Rivals from NetEase is doing rather well, despite making a few guillotine cuts here and there recently. But instead, we need more meaningful, enjoyable, and sustainable single-player experiences. Well, Atomic Heart, I believe, was one such game, but then again, it had very sexy female, robot-y type characters that maybe drove some people away. And I will agree with Mr. Henley on this point. We do need more physical games. What I want is to buy a game from a shop, go home, plop it into my favorite console, and not for the game to say to me, your disk is empty, you need to download the game from this server. I want it to be like the good old days where the actual game is already on the disc. You go home, shove it in, and you're ready to play. Maybe subject to a few updates and a few network patches here and there. Why can't we get that again? And I think there's a big disparity between the actual studios at the moment and customers who yearn to have the good old days returning. And I think that will happen in due course, but right now I really think studios do hate players to a maligned degree, because again, we're not getting the things that we're begging for, which is like great game design, anything, just a good original story. But it doesn't seem that it's going to happen. I was even telling a friend of mine today, as much as I find China irritating sometimes, it's great to see the exploit they have made in the Western video gaming market. Tides of Annihilation, Wu-Chang, Fallen Feathers, but to name a few, are coming from that country with sexy female designs and potentially awesome story arcs and incredible fantasy universes with attractive female characters, great acting, and from what I heard from that Tides of Annihilation clip, great soundtracks as well. But on that one, folks, what did you think? Is Stacey Henley just barking up his own tree? I think the answer is unequivocally yes. And on that one, if you were you and if you were me, you should definitely return for the next video.
I ain't never seen a ass like that.
Mecha.